Hello there, my friends. It is I, the GrimDark Narrator. Welcome to another update for my unfortunate situation. Before I begin, for those of you unaware, yes, my channel is still suspended, with no end in sight. And today's video is gonna be shorter than the previous one, as there's not that many updates to be had. But there's still a couple of important things I do want to talk about, so, well, there's that. Once again, I would kindly ask you to watch the video to the end, especially if you want to get an update on my rebuilding efforts on Patreon and Rumble. That said, without further ado, let us proceed, shall we? So, for starters, there's some good news and there's some bad news concerning my suspended channel. Let's start with the good news, right? For those of you who've been with me for the past 3 weeks or so, if throughout this ordeal, you might remember that out of the 27 videos that got affected by the copyright strikes, I did manage to get 8 of them accepted when I sent those counter notification things. Before my channel got suspended, I got 7 of them accepted, and after that, via email, I got 1 more accepted. So that brings the total to 8. And according to YouTube's own rules, once those get accepted, the claimant has 10 days to appear and make a case. Well, those 10 days are done. They have been done for a few days now. And I did actually get emails for those 7 first counter notifications. And guess what? They were resolved in my favor. It even says so in the email, the screenshot you're seeing now, that the video should have been restored. Of course, the channel is suspended, so I can't check that. Because obviously those Markscan people did not have a case. Because the strikes were wrongful to begin with. So I won, right? Yay. That's good news, right? Well, this is one of those meme situations where you say yes, but actually no. Why, you may ask? Because I still have 20 of those, or 19 rather, of those counter notifications that were rejected. And because those 7, soon to be 8, resolved counters are not enough to lift even half of those copyright strikes. Because if you remember, those things are actually spread in batches of 5 or so. And even if 7 or 8 are resolved, there's still enough spread throughout those 27 that I still have 6 strikes, technically. Ideally, I would need like another 10 or 12 to be resolved to get at least 3 or 4 strikes lifted in order to get the channel reinstated. But that's a different conversation. Because as things stand now, I can't successfully send any more counter notifications, at least as far as I've tried. Not because I can't email them, but because the system automatically rejects them. I have tried over the last 5 or 6 days every conceivable format I could imagine. I tried different phrasing, different arguments, different AIs that I used to help, even sending it from different emails. And the result is always the same. Within like 2 or 3 minutes of me sending them, they get rejected. They're obviously not being properly considered, just automatically rejected. The reason being that the links in those videos, the links that I have to get accepted for the counter notification things, those links are flagged, I think, and they always now get automatically rejected because they were rejected previously, which therefore means that they don't qualify for valid counter notifications anymore. It is what it is. So, in a nutshell, my channel is being kept hostage by this utterly broken counter notification system. And it's even more hilariously tragic now because I even have precedent and concrete evidence that I've been struck unfairly. I said before, and I've said it to everyone I complained to, whatever form or phrasing was used to make those strikes, the issue was identical for all the videos because they were chapters of the same freaking book. And it's even more frustrating than before, actually, because now I have proof that I'm in the right and precedent. Yeah, there's this like glass wall, and I can see my channel on the other side, but I simply can't get through because of their broken ass counter notification system. Anyway, also worth noticing, I think, or mentioning rather, is that I managed to get SpikeyBits to expand on an article that they wrote recently, back when the Remembrancer channel, or creator rather, was affected by something similar. He wasn't struck by MarkScan as far as I know, but he was struck unfairly as well. Well, now I am in that article as well, and I will post the link in the video description. But yeah, it does seem that I've reached a roadblock, maybe even an insurmountable one. And I really don't know what's going to happen to the old channel. I really don't. I guess I'll write to GW as the last resort. I also want to try to reach out to YouTube support again, maybe with this proof that those counter notifications should at least be considered, because those were accepted, right? The first ones, and they were about the same problem. If only I could get like a manual review of this thing and get those other counter notifications accepted, then I would just have to wait because I would win by default because those people don't show up because they're scammers. But I don't know how to get to that. I don't know if you even can unless you're rich and can sue them or got 1 million subs, like the bigger channels that got eventually vindicated. Anyway, moving on. I did say earlier that I had a couple of updates on my rebuilding efforts on Patreon and Rumble. The links for those, alongside everything else I consider important, are in the video description. And I don't really like advertising myself, but since this is the only place I have left where a relatively big number of my former community still exists, I feel like kinda have to. My apologies. Most of you know this already, but for those who don't, I am rebuilding my narration library on Patreon and my lore video library on Rumble, because they are safer than YouTube, if nothing else. I'm also remastering a lot of my old narrations, so I'm hoping that might entice some people to join me on Patreon too. More people, that is. In fact, there's about 500 of us there already, and more are coming. You can join for free, you don't have to pledge anything. And as things stand now, you can access everything I will be posting in the following months, even as a free member. I'm also making polls and updates for content there as often as I can. So if you haven't joined already, you are more than welcome. Now, on Rumble, I have been posting like the proverbial madman over the last 2 weeks or so. Anywhere from 5 to 10 videos a day. Obviously, it is going to take a pretty long time to rebuild the lore library there because, well, there's upwards of 2,000 videos to consider and upload. Yeah, but I have tried so far to also upload as diverse as content as I could. I've started multiple playlists and series there, including Space Marine Legions, Necromunda stuff, Warhammer Minor Nation stuff, Warhammer Fantasy, that is. I've even restarted the Dune playlist most recently. I'm gonna keep expanding there as long as I'm able, and if you miss the lore videos from the channel, old or otherwise, join me there. Heck, You can even request specific lore videos and I will do my best to upload them. The bigger the community and the traffic gets there, I think the easier the rebuilding will go. So if you're already there or wanna come there, do like as many of the videos as you can so they get a bit more traffic. And obviously it's free, you don't have to do or pay anything. I'm not gonna be earning much of anything there either. As of yesterday, I've earned a grand total of $1 on Rumble. But I'm intent on saving the lore video library there, if nothing else. At the time being, for whoever cares, the only other income I have is on Patreon. And not to sound petty or anything, but I haven't even gotten my earnings from AdSense on January. AdSense is basically how you get your ad revenue from your YouTube channel. Even though my main channel was up and running up to January 31st, and the strikes only came on January 24th. So in a sane universe, they should have at least counted the 24 days of January, if not the whole month. But of course, this is not a sane universe. This is Google, and according to AdSense, I actually earned nothing in January. Anyway, I know this might sound a bit like a downer update, but I'm still really grateful to all the people who've written comforting messages or encouraging comments, and especially those of you who joined on Rumble and on Patreon. Thank you to everyone, and I'm gonna do my best to keep everybody updated should anything noteworthy happen soon. Until next time, the Emperor protects, I guess.